afternoon, everyone. Call to order the Planning Commission meeting for December the 11th, 2024. It is now 2:04. Can I have roll call, please?
Susan Dennis,
Present.
Leola Williams,
Here.
Eartha Banks, Harry Cotman, not present, Shirley Laws.
Present. Okay. All right. We have a quorum present. All right. The public comment on items not on the agenda.
Can
Are
you,
there any?
yeah, use your mic.
Okay. Are there any public comments on items not on the agenda? Anybody in the public have any questions on anything that's not on the agenda?
Keep it moving.
Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the public meeting of November the 13th, 2024?
Madam Chair, lady, I do have some corrections.
All right.
I do have a
So,
correction. Are you going to take the corrections first?
yes, please.
Okay, on the first page of the minutes, under approval of October 9th, change that to Mrs. Laws.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
No. All right.
And on the
Miss Laws?
Ms., okay, anything other than Mr.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, on the back page, I did have a concern. I know you weren't here, but the back page where it says Planning and Zoning Director's Report, and there was a discussion, I believe, about the Shang Park, and I made some comments there, and I don't see them listed. What I was concerned about was that there was a meeting to talk about the Deshang Park development, and invited were Delaware County, Widener University, and the city, but I didn't see any, when it said the city, I assumed that's City Hall, but I mentioned that there should have been some other stakeholders at that meeting. There are folks who've been, who had worked with Deshang for years, people in the arts department, you know, the fine arts, who were concerned about that whole area, or any other concerned citizens. I said that some concerned citizens should have been a part of that plan, because certainly they have more of a stake in that than, I'm going to throw it out there, like Widener University. Citizens here have more of a stake in it than they do, and if they do, they should be included in that conversation. And I did mention that, and I don't see any of that there, so if it's not included this time, I'd like to have it included in the next set of minutes.
Okay, it'll be included in the next
Thank
set
you.
of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the only two?
Yes.
Okay.
For me.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Anybody else have any other questions? Or any changes? All right, seeing none, other than what was stated, can I get a motion to accept the minutes of November the 13th, 2024?
I move that November 13, 2024 minutes be approved with the mentioned corrections.
I second. All right, it has been moved and second. All those in favor? Aye. Say aye. Aye. I have to abstain.
Hmm.
Okay. And now I'm going to turn the meeting over to the planning director.
Who's going to turn it over to the
Over to the
assistant?
assistant.
It's okay. The very first item that we have on the agenda is a daycare application. The daycare is titled Cultivating Our Future. The date of the plans were November 15th, 2024, and the applicant is Kamisha Prendergast. file number ZP3-1924. The location of this daycare is 806 Barclay Street, and this is a daycare review. They are in the, misspelled, sorry, in the R3, no, it's dense residential district, that's correct. And they actually are seeking to operate a daycare center in R3 residential district. The remarks from our department is the proposed use is non-conforming. It has been a group daycare since 2011. The site is located on the 800 block of Barclay Street, which is around the corner from Chester High School. The street is comprised of residential dwellings, and the entire parcel will be utilized for a daycare. The applicant submitted an emergency plan as well as an evacuation plan, and it is recommended that the proposal be approved due to non-conforming use. It has already been a daycare since 2011 and has never been anything else since. The owner wishes to not have a daycare, to operate a daycare, so they're leasing it to someone. They have attached the certificate of occupancy from the previous daycare, as well as the occupancy permit. And our applicant is here. That's it from our department.
And if the applicant is here, do you wish to come forward, state your name and your address, and then anything else that you want to add to what was already said? Okay? You
Can I
come
bother you to come?
to the mic? Thank you.
Hello, good day. I'm Kamisha Prendergast. I reside here in Chester, PA, 213 Lloyd Street. I don't have anything else to add. I submitted all the information that needed to be submitted.
Any questions from the Planning Commission?
Yes. I note that there should be a 10-person occupancy, and it looked like your plan had more than 10 people there. What are your numbers looking like?
Well, I only plan to have about 9 to 10 children. However, when I came in, it was told to me that the number went up to 11 for the group home, for the group setting. That's the only reason that's why it's on there as 11.
Okay, and I'm concerned, does that include the adults also?
No.
Okay. My other, well, I did take a look at it. It is really tight, and I know they've used it for a daycare before.
Yes.
Thinking about children, where will they play in the summertime when they need that outdoor fresh air?
So it is a backyard that's set for childcare, for the play area. It's a backyard with jungle gym and everything. It wasn't cleaned up, which is the only reason I did not submit that picture, because I wanted to take all the old things out and replace it with new ones, because the person that occupied that residence before, they had that set up as that with the jungle gym and all the toys in the back. It's a very big backyard.
Is it fenced in?
Yes, it is, yes.
Okay, those were my two concerns.
Okay.
The number of people for that building.
Yes.
And a place for the children to play when
Yes.
it's nice outside.
Yes, it is. It's a really big backyard.
The question I have, you said from 2011, is
Yes.
that until 2024 that it has been?
I believe they closed down during COVID. COVID was the last time of use. That's what the landlord explained to me.
Well, the other question was that how does the neighbors feel as far as having a continual daycare in the resident area, due to the fact that I'm pretty sure a lot of them are getting older,
Mhm.
and you have traffic and you have children, like you said, outside playing.
Right.
How does that affect your neighborhood?
Right, so I spoke to a lot of the neighbors, not all of them, because whenever I went to go and knock on the door and ask questions, some of them weren't home. They spoke to me on their Ring camera, but the ones I spoke with were okay with it. And I have some of them sign the paper, the petition that I needed to sign for them to say yes or no.
Yes. My question or concern is the outdoor traffic,
Yes.
vehicles.
Mhm.
Because I've seen in residential areas like that where people are double parking, blocking others from being able to get through.
Right.
What is your plan for that?
So before, the daycare that was previously there, the person that owned the lot across the street, they allowed them to park there. And I asked if I was able to do that also, to park there to do pickups and drop-offs, and they said that that was okay.
Okay.
And my question is, your evacuation plan,
Yes.
where will they be going?
Next door. So they, told me that I can use the next door. The neighbor said that I could use that, and also Chester High. I'm waiting for them to sign that paper to say that we can use that as a bigger, evacuation, place.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. The lot that you're referring to,
Mhm.
does that belong to someone in the neighborhood or?
Yes, they own that lot. Yes, they own the lot. It was 2 homes there, and they knocked the houses down, and they have that. Yes.
All right, any other questions? Can I get a motion to approve this daycare facility?
I move that the plan for the daycare facility continue to go forward and that this plan be approved.
Thank you.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. And all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Who motioned? I'm sorry, I was sitting down, I couldn't. Who motioned? You did. And who second?
I did.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'll take it with me, the next one. Okay, our second item on the agenda is a sketch plan for M Property LLC that is located at 777 Harris Boulevard, which is 0 East 4th Street. It is in the commercial / residential, it's C2R, general commercial and residential area. And the applicant is M as in Mary Property LLC. The proposal is the development of a drive-through restaurant at 0 East 4th Street owned by Chester Downs and Marina LLC. The site alterations include the construction of a 4,157 square foot building, 2 access and egress driveways, 29 parking spaces, including 2 ADA parking spaces, and 2 drive-through lanes. 1 lane will be for vehicle bypass.
All right, is anybody here representing? State your name and your address, and who you're representing. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Scott Mill. I'm a landscape architect with Van Cleef Engineering Associates. I'm here on behalf of the applicant and property. Also with me here today is Nash Patel, application, and Dave Shafkowitz, our attorney. As mentioned, we're here for a sketch plan review. So we're not here for any kind of formal vote or any kind of decision. So we're just here to get kind of informal feedback, direction, so as we move forward with the plan and then hopefully move forward with the land development, the formal proposal. As mentioned, the property is located on 4th Street. As you can see on the plan on the board, 4th Street kind of runs side to side along the middle of the property, or the middle of the plan. And just below that, kind of in a lighter shade, is the property itself. It's about 79,000 square feet, or about 1 1/4 acres. To the right is Harris Boulevard, which extends into the casino, which is further down below the property. And then to the left, between our property and the prison, is Hinkson Street. Just below the property is the railroad that extends along the property there. As mentioned, the property is located in the C2/R, or General Commercial Residential District, and we are proposing a drive-through restaurant, which is a permitted use in that district. If you look at the plan, you can see kind of in the upper left corner, the darker shaded rectangular shaped portion is the proposed restaurant, with a proposed drive-through which would wrap around at the top and then to the left side, with the pickup window being on the left side. There is parking, 29 parking spaces, including 2 spaces for ADA accessibility. The ADA spaces would be directly behind the restaurant, and then the remainder of the parking would be along the side and the rear. There would be proposed direct access to both Hinkson on the left and Harris Boulevard on the right, a 24-foot wide driveway. There would be no proposed access directly to 4th Street. In terms of building coverage and impervious, we're well below the maximum permitted. For building coverage, 80% of the site is permitted to be covered by building. We're at 5%. And for overall impervious, 90% is permitted, and we're at 38%. So, like I said, we're well under the maximum thresholds for both of those. Again, we're here for informal feedback and comments. We did receive the letter from your zoning officer and from your engineer. We went through them, and there's really nothing in there that I don't think we could manage to take care of working with them and working through the land development process. But if there are any specific questions or concerns you might have, I can certainly help address those. So
I want you to know, going forward, after we have an applicant come, we're going to open for the planning department, and then we'll open for our engineering going forward when we have things other than a daycare. So our planner, Paul Fritz.
I'm only going to highlight a few things that were in the letter just to make a point, and maybe it brings to a discussion. And some of these may actually overlap with the city engineer. One was just to make sure that the land development does come through, that we have an understanding what the hours are for operation with the facility. Consider just having exit on Harris Boulevard because of the traffic light there. It's pretty difficult, or it is difficult to take a left out of Hickson, and we'd be very cautious with that. Another comment would be to accommodate pedestrian traffic with, in, and to the site off of sidewalks, so there is pedestrian access to the site. We'd like to see that. We'd like to see clarification on signage if the development plan comes through. Making sure the dumpsters are screened per our zoning ordinance, which is a typical process. And then just a general comment that you may have noticed at the very end. With all the space that's available, we do recommend from the Planning and Zoning Department that the applicant consider having space for outdoor dining, you know, whether it's under umbrellas and seating. And it doesn't have to be much, but it can be useful and is seen to be successful in other places. So I just wanted to highlight those comments, and then I'll let Ron come up and give you the city engineer comments.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Colliers Engineering, we submitted our engineering review memo of the sketch plan dated December 5th, 2024. I believe it's in your packet. One of our biggest concerns was traffic and the idea that off of Hinskin would only be entrance only, and then all traffic would exit onto Harris Boulevard to take use of a safe turning movement with the traffic light. There's plenty of space, it's appropriate use, and we think all the other engineering aspects can be worked through. One important piece of information that is not in our December 5th letter, and I simply just confirmed over my cell phone that the property is within the 100-year floodplain.
It's within what?
It's in the 100-year floodplain,
Okay.
and appropriate measures for development within a 100-year floodplain with building protections and concerns with fill will have to abide by when they go through the preliminary plan process. Other than that, we think, this is a very appropriate development. What was not in the applicant's application, and it's not they're not required to disclose at this time, but what the actual restaurant would be. That's certainly an appropriate question. It's up to them whether they want to ask that question from the Planning Commission. That's all I have to present. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Just real quick, two of the questions that were raised in terms of what the restaurant is. As of now, we're looking at a Dunkin' Donuts. And in terms of hours, the typical 5 a.m. to mid-afternoon, I think, or to late afternoon. I think the major concern with the hours is proximity to nearby residents. And I think your ordinance has a threshold of 200 feet from the property to the nearest resident. And based on my measurement from the property line, the nearest residence is on the, you've got 4th Street here, the railroad. The nearest resident is about 270 feet away. So I think that exceeds any kind of threshold for any concerns with operational hours.
Any questions from the zoning committee?
This is probably a not permitted question, but
All right.
what made you select Dunkin' Donuts?
I mean, I can
I'm
let
just curious.
my
what
client,
made you
he develops and is a franchisee for several Dunkin'
For-
Donuts. So
okay.
he develops a lot of them.
Okay, I just wondered, because if I wanted a burger.
Could you come forward and state your name, please? Thank you.
Sure, Nash Patel. There is a secondary use to this building, and to your comment, there will be likelihood of, we're evaluating multiple other options as to what that use is gonna be. And I think somebody made a comment about the outdoor seatings. I think there is possibility to make that arrangement, but we'll work through that, the planning phase, by maybe shifting the building that's on the right-hand side a little bit more, and creating a sitting area.
As long as you don't take down those nice trees there, that whole tree line grove there.
Correct.
That is so nice.
Yes, and that's why we avoided entrances from that, at the same time satisfying DOT requirements.
Right, for the landscaping. Any other questions?
Well, how do they plan to address the 100-year flood plan problem? How do you plan to address that?
We'll have to work with your engineer to resolve any issues or concerns. Typically, you have to raise up the site or flood-proof the building. There are different options on how it can be done, but we'll have to address it so that your engineer is in agreement with what we do.
But that is in your plan to do that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And you also stated that there was no direct access to 4th Street?
Vehicular access, right. There is a sidewalk that runs along 4th, and we will propose a sidewalk connection from 4th into this site and to the building. And then I think there was also a comment related to sidewalk along Hickson, which we can certainly provide sidewalk access that way.
Okay, because I was thinking about the pedestrian walk-up,
Mhm.
those type of folks. Okay.
Yep.
To make sure they're protected and not,
Right, and we'll provide the necessary crosswalks and informational, the signage to make sure that drivers know.
What about lighting, street lighting? I know that you don't have any residents that are close, but is it going to be glaring, light? I mean, it needs to be lighted.
Yeah, we'll have to light it, and your ordinance provides for regulations related to lighting. At sketch phase, we really don't get into that level of detail yet. But as we go through the process, we'll, as part of our land development submission, propose landscape and lighting plans to address those concerns and comply with your ordinances.
Anything else?
Also, would it be possible to have a turn-off lane to your facility?
It's something we can look into. I don't know that this use and this intensity warrants that type of provision, but we can look into it.
Is that, I'm thinking you're saying that because of the caution they mentioned about the left turn. So that would be the issue there regarding your concerns with the left turn. Bring it closer. I was following up on what Eartha said with regards to a turning lane and feeling and questioning rather whether it would be related to your concerns as far as a left turn from that main lane there.
Yeah, we would take a look at that. And based on some of the other comments in the review letters, we'll have to bring on a traffic engineer to address some of the concerns, and that's something that they could certainly take a look at.
Okay.
Now, are you going to put up a wall, or are you going to put up a fence?
We haven't really gotten to that level yet. My preference would be a fence, but, that's something we can work with your consultants with and my client to see what best suits the site.
And any other? Done. All right. Yes, we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our very next application that'll be coming before you is a preliminary and a final subdivision plan. Sorry, I was ready. I moved my paper. This is our applicant is, the location is at 601 to 603 Penn Street. It is in the Conservation District. Our applicant, his name is Dwayne Bryant, and he's proposing a lot consolidation, a reverse subdivision of 2 parcels, 1,200 square feet each, into 1 parcel, which will make his property 2,400 square feet total. He's adding a fence around the consolidated lot once it is consolidated for yard.
Is Mr. Bryan here or somebody to represent? Okay. You come forward, state your name, address.
Hello.
Thank you.
My name is Dwayne Bryant. My address is 3815 West 9th Street in Trainer.
Okay. Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, ma'am. I just wanted to be able to make it one and just put a fence around it. That's all I wanted to do.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Bryant?
I don't have any questions. I assume that your property. I say, I don't have a question really. I just assume that it's your property.
Yes, ma'am.
That you're encasing.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have a question.
Okay. And what type of fence are you planning on putting around
Well,
it?
at first I thought about a
Cyclone?
cyclone, but I'm gonna put up from according to this, I'm gonna put up a wooden fence now. A beautiful fence, make you happy fence.
I don't know if I'm making it happen, but. All right. Anybody else have any comments?
No. So this is strictly personal use?
Yes,
No
ma'am.
type of,
No, ma'am.
okay.
All right.
That's it for me.
Okay. Yes. Please.
Again, I'm just going to highlight the things that are in our letter, and just 2 things. One, that if he does do a fence, which he is applying for, he would have to submit for a zoning permit, and there are some requirements on what can be in a front yard and what type of fence it should be. And that includes the location, type, and height. And now I'll let Ron speak on behalf of the city engineer.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Colliers Engineering Design prepared our engineering review letter December 6, 2024. This is an existing residential dwelling that has recently been improved. It's located and is completely surrounded by city park property. We believe the intention for the fence is simply for privacy to separate his property from the public park. Based on the information presented, we have no objections to a conditional preliminary final approval recommendation to City Council. The conditions would be addressing the outstanding comments of our engineering review letter and that of the Planning Department's review. That is all.
Thank you. All right.
So I just want to make sure it is clear already that the fence can only be a certain height in certain places, right? That's been cleared.
All of that is part of the zoning permit process. He just
Okay.
can't fence in land unless it's on the same lot as the structure.
Okay, all right.
All right. Thank you. Ready to move on to the next?
This one actually requires an action.
We need an action on this particular one? Okay. Let's see. All right. Well, I guess we're ready to make a motion then.
I guess I move that the fence be permitted with all that has been explained to him be followed through.
If I could suggest that the appropriate motion would be a motion to recommend conditional preliminary final lot consolidation plan approval,
Okay.
conditioned upon addressing the city engineers and the city planning department's letter.
Thank you.
Just wanted to read that into the record
Yes,
as a
you're-
motion.
You're correct.
Thank you.
I move that the lot, that allowing the lots to be consolidated into one parcel be done. I did get what you said.
I second it. It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next application that I'll be coming before you is another sketch plan. It's Public Works facility. It's going to be proposing to be located on 2nd Street and Pennell Street. It's in the light industrial commercial district. The applicant is the City of Chester. The proposal is the development of a public works facility on existing vacant land owned by Chester First Partnership, LLC. The site alteration includes a 12,266 square foot garage and office, a 4,500 square foot salt shed, a 4,500 square foot covered maintenance facility, 32 paved off-street parking spaces, 24 passenger vehicle parking spaces, 3 large vehicle parking spaces, 1 ADA parking space, and 1 ADA EV parking space, which is electric vehicles, and 2 EV parking spaces.
And who's the applicant for?
City of Chester.
Will be for the
How you doing?
City of Chester? All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman, and the rest of the commission. A little bit of a different review because the city is actually applying to the city for this review. So, and Matt, by the way, can I take us off here and walk around a little bit? Thank you, okay. I feel tethered to that podium.
You can state your name.
I'm sorry, Dave Schwartz, city engineer. Apologize. Yeah, so this is one of the projects that is being funded through the ARPA grant. And currently, and just one quick note about ownership. The city has been working with Delcora, and the property is owned by the other entity, is being purchased by Delcora, and Delcora is then going to take over the current Public Works site closer to the creek. They're going to use that for a pumping station to actually help to decrease the combined sewer overflows in the creek. So this is a all-around kind of beneficial for the city for a number of different reasons. Currently, the lot is just what it looks like. It's a vacant lot. It's used for storage. I believe trucks, car carriers are actually used or use the site currently for a storage facility. There is a small parking lot on the southwest corner. That lot, though, not entirely clear what that is used for. We do know that there's a health mats facility next door which use part of the lot for parking. They don't park in the lot, they park kind of on the side of the street. It's a bit of an unofficial parking lot, but that's what's there for right now. Whoop, here we go. So this is just a site plan of what the garage will look like. There is a little kind of funny notch here in the corner. That's due to a sewer force main that we found along 291. We knew about the force main. What we didn't know is it takes a bit of a strange jog down to on Lloyd to avoid some of the other subsurface things there. So we had to move the building back a little bit, take out a small notch. It doesn't really affect its functionality at all. This is the plan. The main facility is right here. It'll consist of an 8-big garage with 2 lifts and small office space for employees for both Public Works and Parks Department, who will share the building as their headquarters. There also is a small salt shed down here on the southwest corner, along with a covered area for certain equipment that cannot be left out in the weather, but may not need to be in an actual garage. There also are 3 EV spaces here. The city is acquiring through a grant 3 electric vehicles, a dump truck, and 2 other trucks. I forget exactly what they are, but what's that? Trash truck, and there are 2 other ones, I believe. There's a dump truck, 2 dump trucks, okay. Anyway, bottom line, this is where they're going to sit. They're going to be actually probably stationed at City Hall for a little while, and then we're going to move those EV stations over to the new Public Works garage. That is the overall plan. I also wanted to just show briefly. Oh, no, I'm sorry. One more point. The employee lot over here as well will be separated from the yard, and will be accessed through a key card with a gate.
So what kind of gate are you going to have there?
We're still working through that.
Oh.
It's probably going.
It'll be an automatic gate?
It'll be an automatic gate.
Okay.
Automatic gate that can be controlled also through a control panel
Right.
from either inside the building or at the actual gate. This is just a diagram showing some elevations of the project and kind of what the facing of it will look like. This is going to be the rear of the site. All the garage doors are in the rear. The office building is right here. The front of the building, I know this looks a little bit drab right now. It looks a little bit kind of plain. One thing I'll point out, however, this will be landscaped. There's a lot of room out there. It's the future site of the East Coast Greenway, so we're very cognizant of providing plenty of setback for the installation of the future Greenway, and we will look at landscaping to shield the entrance, to give some visual buffer from the building. There's also one thing that's not shown on here. We're going to look at putting in a small picnic area, small area here for employees to go outside for lunch, and then connect that to the existing sidewalk on 291.
And that's going to be towards the front?
Yep, the front entrance. Well, this is the front of the building. That'll be on
Right.
291. You also can see we have a sister seal out there as well. The majority of this, not the majority of it, but a large portion of the front currently is planned to have brick facing.
Okay.
We may cut that back a little bit based on the cost estimates that we're developing now, but that is going to be generally speaking, what's going to look like. And the picnic area will be right over here in the front.
Okay, what's those three little doors?
Windows.
That's
Actually, yeah, and then there also will be, for the facility, for the garage facility itself, I should point out, there will be some windows at the top of the garage, these areas up here, to allow light to get in there. We have received some comments, but from sketch plan from the planning director, most of which I believe are going to be very easy to address. I think all of which will be pretty easy to address. And we're looking to get a preliminary and final application in for your meeting in January. So this will be coming back with a much more formal submission, hopefully in the near future.
Okay. I just want to know where are you going to put your dumpster?
Dumpster, here, I can show you on site plan actually. Dumpster is going in the back. It's going right in here, right near the salt shed, right near where the dump trucks are being parked actually, so
All right.
convenient.
Okay. And ready for plan?
Oh.
Thanks.
Thank you.
David covered some of the comments that I have in the letter. I just want to make sure you're aware of that this use is allowed in the LIC district, of course. The sketch plan as shown does meet all dimensional requirements for the city per the zoning ordinance. And then, as David mentioned about the facade and the paneling, we do mention that 60% of the facade not be more than 60% of the facade, be more than 60% of exposed metal panels, if that makes sense. And that's a key thing we're trying to keep track of in the city because we do get a lot of Butler-type buildings or warehouse-type buildings that have exposed metal panels, and we're trying to have more texture and more permanence in our buildings, such as brick, which is proposed as a facade treatment on this building. Our typical comment about fencing, be more, or clarify what type of fencing, the height, and making sure the frontage has an ornamental type of fence, even though we know the security is required. Location of utility meters will be important to know, just for screening purposes. Illumination of the site at night, how that will be taken care of will more than likely be part of the land development plan. The fire department is actually is reviewing this plan as we speak, and we'll have that information to David when it's ready. And then we also had a comment about the impact of what will happen to West 2nd Street in the near future, or hopefully near future if there's improvements made. There will need to be some discussion on what the actual treatment will be to that frontage, whether it is street trees or we wait until there is a final plan for West 2nd Street or 291, because there are improvements eventually going to be proposed there. So we'll want to just make sure that we have coordination on that future treatment. And then we talked about improving curbs on the side streets and actually doing full street pavement improvements on those side streets where applicable, and especially on Pennell Street, which seems to be in rough shape these days. So since Colliers is the engineer on this, we won't have the city engineer make comments on it. So it was up to Kim and I to do the review for the zoning ordinance requirements and the SALDO requirements. Again, the SALDO requirements are usually handled by the city engineer. So please let us know if there are questions at this moment.
Is there any impact to the residents who live directly across from that area?
There are no more. I mean, there is a health mat site next door to the to south of there. The nearest residence, I'll have to look. Okay, thank you very much. Across the street, the nearest residents are across West 2nd Street, and so they will see, like I showed before, the existing facing of the building. But we don't anticipate there being major traffic impacts. We are going through a PennDOT review. We don't anticipate that would require a formal HOP, highway occupancy permit, because we are not proposing any entrances or exits onto West 2nd Street. All of the entrances and exits are on local roads. But as far as the impacts go, the facility will be operated through normal business hours, not going to be operated in any strange hours unless there's a snow event or some other emergency event. So we do not, and the noise and odor and everything else will be kind of what you would expect from a typical, light maintenance kind of work. They're not going to be overhauling engines or doing anything that's going to generate large amounts of trash that'll be stored on site. It's going to be a pretty limited use. And just a couple of things to just point out, as Paul mentioned, the fence will be ornamental. It'll be secure, but it'll be ornamental. It's going to look nice. It will look nice. We definitely want to make sure that's not going to be we're looking to improve this. The current public works site, if you've seen it, is in a state of disrepair right now. This will be definitely an improved site for them. It'll provide an area for the staff to assemble in the morning, and there'll be office space there as well for the administrative staff.
You mentioned about the greenway. Is a trail supposed to go through there some kind of way?
Yes, eventually the East Coast Greenway will be going along the entire length of 291. We did not include that into the plan right now because, well, for two reasons. One, this is being funded through ARPA, so we didn't want to so we didn't want to make it seem like we're tacking on things that weren't part of the actual, use of the site. Number one. Number two, as I mentioned by Paul, there is there's a project going on 291. So there will be some improvements that are already scheduled in the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program. Right. So it would seem redundant or unnecessary really to spend money on doing something when it's already laid out to be done. But yes, that's the East Coast Greenway, and we are working on other parts of the Greenway right now, actually. So looking to get that all assembled into one cohesive trail. Hopefully pretty soon.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, I wanted to know, would it be important to let the nearby residents know, what you're doing or developing, across from them?
We certainly could. I mean, we have contacted the adjacent Health Mat store or facility just to indicate the issues with parking. We have not gone yet to the public in any way. If that's something that you would recommend, I mean, we certainly would be happy to put it out there, to indicate to them the development that's going on, give them the opportunity to come in and comment.
The reason I ask is there's always a lot of residents wondering what's happening here, what's happening there. They don't know what's going on, and it's right across the street from them or nearby, and I think that would be important.
Yeah, I'd be happy to send something out, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
If it's helpful, if the city wanted to give notice of the preliminary plan review by the Planning Commission to the neighbors across the street, this is a public meeting and they're always welcome to come to this meeting. But if you so choose or recommend, a notice from the city to those property owners could certainly be sent when it's on the agenda as a preliminary final plan.
Okay, thank you.
For sketch
Okay,
plan.
I was just going to say that I was glad to hear that you're considering a few beautification ideas, because even with what you're planning to set up, it can look good. I've seen it look good, and certainly the city wants to be the model for making something like this look good. If they see you do it right, then possibly the other folks will make theirs look good. So I'm glad to hear that that's in the works also. That's
the whole idea. We definitely want to add a lot of greenery out there and want to make this look like it's, I mean, it's an industrial building, but doesn't look like, exactly, doesn't to look bad. And actually one of the things we are putting is we're planning to put it on, there's a big seal for City of Chester on the outside as a nice, announcement, if you will, of its use.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
So the last and final We actually have a preliminary final minor subdivision and land development plan. This was on the agenda last month, and it is here today. The location is on 3rd and Curlin Street. The address is 601 to 629 West 3rd Street. It's located in the C2R, the General Commercial and Residential District. The applicant is Greg Zyla. The proposal is the consolidation of 10 existing lots into one lot, which will make that one lot 31,972 square feet. On the consolidated lot, the applicant proposes to construct a 6,000 square foot office building with a driveway, a parking lot, and stormwater improvements.
Okay, do we have somebody here representing? Okay. Come forward, state your name.
My name is Rachel Mercurio. I'm sorry. Attorney ID number 317990, here on behalf of Greg Zyla. And thank you for your time, but I wanted to let you guys know, based on recommendation by the engineer immediately prior to this meeting, he is requesting that we have additional discussions on some of the comment letters. So we are asking to table this until your next meeting so that we can resolve any outstanding issues with the engineer and come back at your January meeting.
All right, fair enough. Anybody else have any comments that you want to make?
Just from a time extension, we do not wish to have a deemed approval, so we would request that your client sign a time extension. Otherwise, because of the 90 days, we would need a recommendation to deny, and we don't want to do that. We support the project. So if you're... Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to ask about the 90-day rule, but thank you. Okay. All right, as we move forward. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Yes. Okay. So, since the applicant has decided to move for a delay, we should now have a motion to say that we can table this until the next meeting in January. Can I get a motion?
I move that we table this,
Request?
request until our next meeting.
I second.
Okay, it has been moved in second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, we can move on into old business. Do we have any old business?
I think you're okay, because the old business was that plan. Yep, yep.
Okay, so we can move on now to your report.
Okay, good. And I will be
Thank you.
brief. There's three things I wanted to mention to you today. One is, oh, and it's not appearing on here, but what I will do is send you a link to it after this meeting. We do now have a interactive zoning map on the website, which I had talked about previous meetings that we were working on it, but it is live, it's up there. There's a way to see the zoning overlay on top of aerial photographs. Makes it a lot easier for applicants people are just curious what their zoning district is that they reside in or want to do something with. It's more user-friendly, having that interactive map. And again, after this meeting, I'll email the link to you, and it's on our planning website.
All right, thank you.
The second thing I wanted to mention is, and I've mentioned this previously, we are getting closer to a rough draft for a zoning amendment for smoke shops, not smoke houses, right, which I mentioned before. So it's close to a rough draft, and then I need the city attorney to bless that rough draft. But then once I have something rough, I will share it with you. And perhaps we can even go over it as a group in a separate meeting or together at this meeting with any questions. And then lastly I have for you today is next year's meeting schedule. And there's one thing I wanted to point out on that meeting schedule. Previously, our submittal dates were roughly 10 days or 12 days before the Planning Commission meeting, which really put a constraint on city staff in trying to review this and get these meeting minutes and all that, everything prepared for the meeting, and review letters, et cetera. And that was actually not meeting what our SALDO was requiring. They require 20 days. So we've actually extended that time. And that's actually a typical time frame, so roughly 3 weeks to get everything in order and have the review letters prepared and things like that. So I just wanted to mention that. So I will pass that out to you as we close this meeting. And in the meantime, I'm happy to take any questions if you have any for Kim and Ray.
I just have one question. I was wondering, are we a member of the PSAB? Do we have a
The PS
AB, the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs?
Boroughs,
Yes, are we a member?
we are in a way a side member, right, Kim, because of our relationship with the continuing ed courses? I can't answer that. Yeah. That membership, the courses that we offer to you in the fall, that is through the borough. So we have a relationship with them. Do we have a formal membership? I'd have to find that out, because if that was the case, each one of you would have a membership, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
because I know there's a fee, and then the deadline for 2025 is now coming up for January 31st. So that's why I wanted to know if we are members.
For the membership fee?
Yeah.
Okay, I can look into that. Yep,
Okay.
okay. Thank you for bringing that up.
And that's it for me.
Okay.
You guys get to look at the Watt rights?
Yes. Did you want to present them? Okay.
Just want to make sure you looked over, didn't have any questions.
All right, thank you. And Collier?
Yes, before you adjourn, Madam Chairperson, the applicant, Zyla, has granted a time extension to March 12th, 2025. Probably the final motion would be for the Planning Commission to accept the time extension by the applicant. And then
So we need to make a motion
chairperson
for
should
that?
sign it then.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So can I get a motion to extend the application for Zyla to our March planning meeting?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to split hairs, but the
Okay.
motion should be to accept the applicant's time extension to March 12th, 2025.
All right, thank you. All right. All those in favor, who wants to make a motion? I'm sorry. You threw me off.
I move to extend the plan to,
March 12th.
to March 12th,
Yep, of 2025.
2025 for Zylo project.
So just to confirm, it will be on the next meeting, but the deadline is extended to March.
Yep. Yep.
So it will be extended, it will be in the next meeting, but the
Right.
deadline, they're
But the
they're
deadline
asking for an
for them to-
extension. Yes, it would be cleared for us to continue the conversation until March 12th of 2025, but they will be ready, they will be at the next meeting.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so can I get a motion for that?
I move that we approve the extension for the Zyla project
To March.
to March 12th.
To accept.
Accept the extension.
Extension.
To accept the extension.
Because
Okay.
they are presenting an extension. extension. They have signed and requested an extension, so we have to accept it.
Right.
Then we're making a motion to accept their.
The request for
That
an
is correct.
extension.
We just want it right legally.
Okay, no problem. All right, so, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. And hearing none and seeing anything else, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move that the meeting be adjourned.
I second. All right, if we adjourn the meeting at 3:04. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you did it.
Nothing. How you doing? I'm getting in the swing of things, and that, I'm the oldest member here. I mean, I'm the longest member here, so I'm used to it. I'm getting this swing. That's what I want to do. I don't say
That was the number I had.
Whenever they're done.
that would have went down the wrong way.